We have
No, so I'm going to tell you this
place.
advertisement.
Okay,
so,
okay.
Joe Zone, what is Joe on? Channel 3?
What's Joe on?
I think
Channel
he's on
3?
Channel 3. Is Joe on Channel 3? All right,
Yeah.
so Joe Zone, good friend of the show.
We had breakfast with him today.
They're golfing underwear. And the lady gets up on the thing, does her stand-up, and goes, and this underwear is to hold your balls. And that's how she started the broadcast.
What?
On Channel 3 last night, so my wife's like fascinated. So they're golf underwear, but I like them.
Yes.
I like sliding shorts, like when I played, that go down about to your knees. So Joe Zone goes in, he changes up, he comes out, and he's like, I got my sacks
You're
on.
telling me that Joe Zone is showing off his underwear as his Travelers Championship updates?
Yes. Yes. Sitting there next to his female partner, and he's showing off his golf underwear.
There is nothing better than starting a segment with a little chat amongst boys about the underwear. Was there a hole in one, or was that?
No, welcome to the
No.
Rob
Dad
Dibble
joke.
Show,
Dad-
Connor Geary. This is kind of how we do it. We kind of start with.
Where the heck did you get that?
So they're giving it out down at the fan
Oh, my God.
zone.
I got to go buy some.
You don't even have to need to buy some. They're handing it
All
out.
right, one
Dibs.
free.
Now
All
these,
right, but I like your camo ones.
weren't they advertised as "Keep Your Balls Cool"?
Yes.
Yes.
Keep your balls
cool. Now we're talking golf balls,
And we
right?
could
We're
say
talking
that
golf
because
balls.
that's their advertising.
right.
Look
Exactly.
at Connor's face.
So
I don't know.
once again,
a
what-
guy talks a lot. I'm speechless. I didn't. Wasn't planning on this.
If you don't know this man, you probably know his voice. He is, I'd say, the best announcer in all of sports, and we are so lucky in the state of Connecticut to have Connor Geary as our sports community, as I'd say the voice of our sports community when it comes to live events. You see him at Yard Goats games, definitely UConn games. I've seen you at every parade downtown Hartford. You are kind of synonymous with Hartford sports. Welcome to the Travelers Championship. I know
Thanks
this
for having
isn't
me.
your first day, though. You've been bouncing around already. Is this a normal thing for you? You're not on any official capacity here. You're just a fan.
I'm a fan. I'm hanging out, enjoying what Cromwell has to offer. I love coming out. You know, some weeks we've got Goats games, and I can't necessarily make it here. And this week we happen to be away, so I'm going to try to spend as much time at the course as I can this week.
Now, Dibs, he's a lot like you.
No, he's
more
not.
than me.
So let me jump in here.
I bench
Ben,
280.
No, Ben is great at stand-up when we do like remotes and stuff like. I can't do that. I can pitch in front of 50,000. I can't talk to 50 people. What you do,
I can't pitch.
No, but I marvel at. Listen, you're at the UConn games, you're at the basketball games, you're doing Yard Goats and stuff like that, and it just flows for you. What do you psych yourself up or out to go out there and be calm?
Great question.
You know, so certain events, yes. Certain events, I'm definitely the adrenaline's hitting a bit more. A lot of those are if I'm doing something for the first or second time. You know, I'm fortunate to have been doing what I'm doing in the state of Connecticut for our teams for, you know, the last 6 years minus COVID. So a lot of that is very familiar to me. So I feed off the energy of the crowd.
Right.
Is going to feel like. I also have to be situationally aware. Is it a big matchup? Is it nationally televised? You know.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Sometimes
right.
the camera's on you, yet you're talking to the people that are right there.
Correct. So my role is very much crowd and fan entertainment. I'm not playing to the camera as much as I am to the promo or the contestant that's with me, and I want to make sure that that is a fun, engaging, sort of natural feeling experience. But I also have to remember that I'm on stage in front of sometimes tens of thousands of people, and it also depends on the venue. A lot of what I have to think about is based on, you know, the PA system or the delay on the system, or, you know, how many empty seats are there up top, you know, and is there going to be echo that I have to kind of think about? So a lot of different situations will come into play when I'm working a game or an event that I have to consider. But you're absolutely right. I mean, I'm going to hype myself up. I'm going to be ready to go. I get that countdown, and they tell me there's 5 seconds before I'm on the microphone.
Ready, go.
And ready, go. I mean, that's what it
Did
is.
an amazing job.
So,
All right, I
thank you.
take it back. He isn't like you because he like really prepares and thinks about things like echo and you
Well, no,
never
because when I was in the
Wind
minor league,
direction, Coriolis effect.
I
you
used
know.
to get fascinated by, let's just take Nashville. When I played with the Sounds, a lot of your country stars that you know today and maybe the last 20, 30 years, they came and they got their start singing the national anthem. They couldn't just pop in something and lip sync it. They sang, but it would come back at them.
Oh, yeah.
And so the first time that you've ever done that at like a baseball stadium, I mean, Nashville had massive speakers, blared music and stuff like that. But to stand up there and sing, it's a totally different thing for artists.
So I have to, in some venues, like Rentschler Field's a really good example of this. I am listening to what I just said, focusing on what I'm currently saying, and thinking about what I'm about to say. And that is, until you've done it, that's harder than it sounds.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that sounds goofy, but there's a lot going on in those moments. And I don't, I sort of pride myself, and I don't take a script with me. I don't take a piece of paper. I'm not reading anything most of the time. Sometimes I do, but 99% of the time I'm not reading anything. So to try to perform in a way that sounds natural, but it could be the 100th time you've seen me do it, I take that responsibility very seriously. I want people to not get bored by what it is that I'm bringing to the table, even if they've seen me do, 30 half-court shots or 500 first pitches or whatever it might be. So, that's kind of the trick. I think, based on a lot of what I hear from fans, they enjoy what I bring to the table.
Absolutely.
And,
we love it, brother.
Thank you.
You get
Thank
the
you,
place pretty hype, and you've had some pretty good teams to do that for, including UConn men's basketball, back-to-back national champions you're a big part of. The reason I do think you and Dibbs are a lot alike, you're both a couple of loudies. I mean, I can hear you coming long before I can see you coming. And Dibbs and I got in trouble yesterday from the PGA as being a little too loud close to tee number 10. I think it was Ben Griffin who was upset with us yesterday.
But when Nathan Grube, the tournament director, is in a full sprint from right over there towards us,
quiet, please.
You're in trouble.
Yeah,
Turn that off. But they didn't let Connor, because I think Connor would be a great announcer for
you got to have a golf voice, though, right?
But that's the thing. Is like they think that he's too hype. They think he's too loud, and they're not going to let him do it.
Well, I don't.
You'd probably be
it's not like I went for a job interview or anything.
You'd probably be taking some guy's job that wants to.
So what?
Right.
I get plenty of
FaceTime.
If anybody ever thinks I'm an add to their event, they can hit me up.
There you go.
I get it. You're on the first tee. You want to get everybody.
No, I disagree, man. We got to get some hype in here. Like first of all, we got some great nicknames for the field from the Rob Dibble
Don't ever
show.
listen to his nicknames.
Brian Harm, no foul man. I
No.
mean, we've got Victor Hovland, H to the OV.
No.
We have got, we've got them all, man. And if they had like a nickname and a theme song as they walked to the
Like I treat it like a lineup, like a starting lineup.
Correct.
He'd last one day.
Yeah.
These guys.
just Thursday.
No, you're doing this guy's two-time Masters champion. This guy's This guy's the number one player in the world.
Maybe Wednesday.
He's not going to do. Yeah, maybe
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Now, I hate to bring up embarrassing moments of
come
Connor
on.
Geary, but he was the voice, the stadium voice of Home Run X.
Oh boy, you're
Dibbs
going
got
there.
Dibbs threw
You're
the
going
first
there.
pitch out. And,
Worst moment of my life.
He thinks this is the worst moment of his life. And this is the funny thing, which I think that you are a lot like Connor in this regard as well. Like, you get hung up on mistakes that you make. Like,
I'm very
initially.
critical
You're
of
very
myself.
critical of yourself, and so is he. But no one ever notices stuff you do, and no one ever knows stuff Connor does. He has Jake Arrieta up there. And
If you told me we were going to be talking about this, I'd be on the 18th hole right now.
he is so embarrassed by this, but I think
Why?
it's great. And the only reason I know about it is because he told me about it. I'm a huge Arrieta fan.
I'll tell you the story. I'll tell you the story. So, the Hartford Yard Goats in Duncan Park had the honor of hosting Major League Baseball's first Home Run Derby X
Awesome, by
on
the
the
way.
States,
Awesome.
right, on U.S.
We had
soil.
a great time.
It was an incredible setup, and it's a very involved production, and it was unlike anything I'd ever done before. And I had the added, sort of benefit of being able to introduce some of the most recognizable names in the game.
Rob
And
Dibble, Dexter Fowler, Jake Arrieta, Johnny Gomes,
Yep.
Trot Nixon.
So here's what I need to preface with. I didn't, and this is not a knock, this is just the reality of my job. I didn't get the script of everybody until
preaching
day
to
of.
the choir
So
here,
right?
Connor.
So I get the lineup,
all
I get the
day.
script, and I have to, and I do this at Sun games, not as much at Yard Goats games because I've done so many of them. If I do 50 games a year in the last 6 years, I've done 300 Yard Goats games, right? So that's muscle memory for me. So I get the script. I'm working with the production team, super professional, down to every minute detail, ready to go. And I had committed the entirety of that script to memory line for line, every stat they wanted me to hit.
We ain't
What I
doing
was
that.
not.
No, we ain't doing that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
a
have
real
that
pro.
kind of-
Okay,
I've never had
I'm
that
a
kind
real,
of memory.
I don't know. So the moment comes, I'm on the mic, and I know that I've got Major League Baseball players that I'm announcing. And what I was not prepared for was a swap in the order of the players relative to what I had memorized. And I was genuinely unaware of the fact that Jake Arrieta was on the stage with me. So what do? But I read off Johnny Gomes' bio to introduce Jake Arrieta.
Did you notice? You
I
were
didn't
right
notice.
there.
I was right
You
there.
didn't notice this?
No, I didn't.
No one did, dude. You're
I was-
the
I
only
was-
one who
Oh, my
noticed.
God. I mean,
I was talking to some different
I've-
people at the time.
Thank God.
I think it was
but
Johnny
I hear-
Gomes. Johnny
so
Gomes
I'm doing
will never
it,
stop talking.
and I get like 2 lines in, and I'm on fire. I'm like so hyped that I got every stat line they wanted me, every award they got, and I just, in retrospect, I remember hearing these like gasps and groans on the stage from the home run
people,
derby
right.
hitters, and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until I was done, and like some of them could barely make eye contact with me, and it wasn't until I got back to the dugout. I walk off the stage, I'm feeling good. I get back to the dugout, and I'm like, oh my God, that's Jake Arrieta
Arrieta.
on the stage, and I just rattled off Johnny Gomes.
Johnny
they're not even
Gomes'
close.
stuff, right.
They're not even, So I was mortified, and fortunately, I got to hang out up in the YG Club afterwards with everybody. Jake was super nice about it. Johnny was great about it. Nick Swisher had a great time ribbing me about it, and that was probably the biggest gaffe professionally I've ever made.
Wow, hang out in our show.
But
Yeah,
I got
okay.
every line right. I just did it to the wrong human being.
People have been screwing my name up since the Reds drafted
How many
me.
Rons have you gotten this week?
The-
Got a lot of Rons?
Ron, Rod, all kinds of different names. Tribble.
Tribble.
But the best one was the Reds when they drafted me. The first workout thing was to Ron Dibble. My first check that they sent me
Sure.
was to Ron Dibble. So, I was like, okay, if this is the way it's going to go, I guess I'm going to be this guy all the time. So then I would say, oh, yeah, that's my brother Ron. Whenever there was a screw-up, I blamed it on my alter ego.
That's funny.
So
I don't have it on my.
You need to work on that.
So
I think
Connor,
we-
you
Maybe
gotta-
Jake's
you got-
alter ego is Johnny Gomes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need an alter
Chris
ego.
Geary.
Chris, yeah,
Chris
I get
Geary,
Colin
yeah.
a lot.
Colin,
I get
there
Gary.
you go.
I get Gary.
Colin
People think
Gary.
my last name,
Is
which
your
is
first
Geary,
name.
is my first name. Gary. I get that a fair amount. I get some. Some people have select words for me, but those are just names that they're calling me at that point.
That's love. That's love.
Is that what it is?
That is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing about athletes is they're easygoing when it comes to stuff like that. If it was something like they screwed up, they'd be mortified about it, like screwing up on the field or something like that they're remembered for. That's just something.
Yeah,
that,
I just I take pride in being very
Yeah.
good, and I wasn't, and I.
By the way, I'm going to text Jake in a little bit about this.
Yeah,
so
Yeah,
I'll just
sure.
mess with
I
it.
think we might follow each other. I don't know. I certainly follow him, but I
Jake's a
I
cool
was
dude.
so
By the way, he's a
mortified.
good hunter. He's a really down to earth guy.
Awesome
so.
guy.
I tried one of his
Yeah.
workouts, and I got about 90 seconds
No,
in,
he's
and that
nuts.
was it.
He's like Kevin
Yeah.
Brown.
Yeah,
There's
I know.
certain guys that have that alpha mentality.
Yeah.
Jake, Kevin Brown, those are some of the guys that are absolutely insane.
Are you
Yep.
prepared for your first introduction of the back-to-back national champions?
So I don't know if you saw this, but the moment the news so I was playing in a sort of charitable golf tournament, and I'm on social media and I'm listening to everything. I got the news on, and I'm just waiting to hear what's the announcement. Is he staying? Is he going?
Talking about Coach Hurley.
Talking about Coach Hurley, and I get back to the golf cart and I look, and the announcement was made, and everybody on Twitter has it that he's staying, and I'm like elated, right? I was nervous.
We were
I
nervous.
was
Yeah.
nervous.
We couldn't sleep.
And so he announces that he's staying, and my first thought is I get to announce his name at first night
yeah.
after back to back. So that was literally, that was where my mind went to. So yeah, I think I'm that'll be a time where I have to be really, really
pumped up,
and
absolutely
hyped and ready, and the gravity of that moment is not lost on me in terms of we could have not had that if he had elected to make a different decision. So I'm not going to let him down. The first thing I tweeted at him when it was announced that he was looking was like, Coach, I'll do a really good job announcing your name if you stay. And here we are.
We begged him to.
I like to think that was a morsel of consideration. Was that,
Yeah.
do I really want to go somewhere where Connor's not going to be announcing my name?
Right, I can't leave Connor Geary's voice.
We're just so happy for that. My wife actually texted me. She was going to be more upset if Hurley left than if I had left her. So she had
I don't
because she's a
agree with
UConn.
that.
She's a UConn alum, and the UConn alum take their basketball seriously.
There are a lot of professionals. You could probably talk to somebody about that.
Oh, I know.
Explore that a little bit and dive deep on what that means. But I hear you. Yeah.
Dude, she lays out her and you know this about UConn people. She lays out her UConn gear before every game, men or women, and even though we can get free tickets to the football game, she made me get season tickets and stuff so we could sit closer.
That's a true fan.
She's a huge fan.
That's a true fan.
Huge fan.
Yep.
How's the Sun going?
Oh, my God.
I mean, this has been a great year for the WNBA.
I'm not saying it's me, but I'm not saying it's not me. I mean, it has been. So last year, this is a funny story. I talked to, I talked to Don Amore about this a little bit in his recent article, but I was at a UConn game, and a guy who worked for the Sun tapped me on the shoulder and said, would you believe me if I told you the only reason I'm here is because Jen Rosati told me I can't leave this game without getting your phone number? I was like, well, actually, let me tell you my Jake Arrieta story. Yeah, that would not be the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. I said, yes, I believe you. So we exchanged numbers, and they asked me to fill in for a game where they didn't have their host, and I was honored to do so. And they came knocking after the opportunity opened up on I'll say full-time, but for the full season basis. And so I'd gotten my toes a little bit wet there, but man, oh man, what a season to be involved with them. I mean, it's been fantastic. The first game was, Caitlin Clark's first game, right? So there was the media. So I walk in and it's just, there's 10 times as many people 4 hours before the game.
But you're used to UConn. You're used to UConn women having this kind of circus.
Absolutely. But it was nice to see in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun Arena. It was very cool. And we've been playing outstanding basketball.
Top notch.
13-1 with a big game tonight that I plan to watch when I get home, and a finals rematch I think against the Aces. And it's been incredible to watch. It's been incredible to watch the fans come out. The viewership is up, the participation, the energy level is up. I mean, and I'm hearing that from a lot of people who have been season ticket holders with them for over 20 years. That this is just a different level than anything they've seen. Yes, they're avid WNBA fans who go to all the games and they'll travel, they'll drive the hour and a half, whatever it might be. I mean, there are people I've met that drive down from New Hampshire to Mohegan Sun Arena for every home game.
That's great.
There's a dedication there that has been really impressive to me. And I think the product we're putting on the court, both the team and what we've done from sort of a production, promotion, programming level has been really great as well, too.
We didn't even ask you. We're talking to Connor Geary. How'd you get into this? Like, when was the first gig? Was it like high school or something like that where someone said, hey, would you like to announce the starting lineups or whatever?
Yeah.
So what was your first job to get in front of some fans?
So, it really truly was the Yard Goats. That was the first sports element of this. But I got into a relationship with the Yard Goats coming really off of my background in food and beverage. I was in hospitality, and I used to manage a comedy club in downtown Hartford in the basement of City Steam Brewery called the Brouhaha. Mm-hmm. And that was when I was on microphone every weekend, doing some crowd work and kind of doing a little shtick. And that went great, but I never had any knowledge or let alone aspiration to get into sort of sports entertainment, as it were. I began working for so that's one parallel. The other one is that I was mascotting for a little while.
Excellent.
So
that's where all the best minor league
productions
productions start.
Yep. So I was the first professional chompers.
No way!
Yeah. Did you not know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Before the stadium was built, I was working in downtown Hartford, and I saw the newly announced team posted on their social media that they were looking for mascot tryouts. And so I put that date in my calendar. It was like 6 weeks in the future.
I got to stop you there. What's a mascot tryout
I
like?
know.
Well,
Thinking this
so
too.
I don't know
Tire
because
run.
Exactly.
There's like a limbo
so
situation.
no. This is a true
Can you
story. I
juggle?
swear to God, this is how this went. 6 weeks go by or whatever it was. My phone alarm goes off and it says mascot tryouts. So I go on like the social media pages. I can't find anything about it. So I send them a message and was like, "Hey, I had a note that this was mascot audition day." And they responded and were like, "Well, we didn't really get any sign-ups, so
I was
we
just gonna
canceled
say,
it."
you're the only one, man.
You're the only one.
I'm talking. I
awesome.
swear, I am talking to the Yard Goat logo on Facebook Messenger, and they say to me, "Well, we kind of need somebody tonight. Are you available?" And I was like, "Yeah. Do you need my resume or anything?" Because I had mascotted in college a little bit, which is another story. So they said, "Well, no, we kind of trust you. We know where you work. We know who you are. We know you know some of the guys." So I went to the team office, which was on Pratt Street at the time. Stadium wasn't built. No home games yet. Pick up this giant hockey bag thing. Show up to the location. I open up the bag. It's a suit in 9 parts. I don't know how to put it on. So I'm standing in this restroom of the venue dressing up as a goat. I don't know how to get everything on. It takes me like 5 different tries to figure out when do the pants go on, right? When does the body go on? And this like guys are walking into the bathroom just like, "Hey, sorry, you're witnessing this." And so that was my introduction.
Wow.
And I got
That's
a
fantastic.
great relationship with the Goats as a result of that. And the next season, so I started there full time in the fall of 17. So after the first season was over, I started working there, and then their on-field host was moving out of state, and they had a vacancy, and I threw my hat in the ring, did an actual audition for that, as did many other people, and ultimately Mike and Tim said, "We really like you for the job."
Fantastic.
And then UConn baseball played a game there, and I announced, I hosted that game for UConn baseball, and that's how I met some of the folks at UConn Athletics.
So timing and just saying yes.
Pure luck.
Exactly.
Say yes, pure luck. Do stuff people don't necessarily want
Be
to
ready
do.
to work at a moment's notice.
Yep.
Never say no.
Correct.
So you're out here again. You're going to be out here all weekend. What's kind of the game plan for you? And I think Pat's going to be rolling with you too. What are you guys' game plan as far as
Shout out to my buddy Pat joining me. Nothing, man. I mean, we're gonna watch some golf. We're gonna take in some food. See if we can get into a tent. I think Pat's got the hookup. I'm not the hookup guy. We're going to get into a tent over on 18, and hopefully these storms don't last too long.
That's kind of the thing around here. It's like you
Getting
at the,
into a tent.
Yeah, it's like you at the Super Bowl. Like, I can get us into a party. You come here. I know a couple of guys and get us into a tent. Well, good for you.
That credential kind of looks like me. I don't know. What do you think? We'll see. Hi, I'm here with media.
Excellent stuff.
We talked our way into a golf cart ride up here.
Awesome.
That's a true story.
That's the way
Yeah,
you do
I
it.
mean,
There you go.
You know,
That's the way
just
you do it.
nice people here in Connecticut.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining the show.
Pleasure
today,
to
my man.
pleasure to be
Absolutely.
here. Thanks for having me.
Don't get in any trouble.
Stay out of trouble.
Don't get so loud.
All right, we'll
like
talk to
we've
some
been.
ladies from Hartford Healthcare and the Bone and Joint Institute here in a second. Sponsored by Genesis of Milford. The first Genesis showroom in New England is now open at Boston Post Road in Milford. Genesis and MilfordCT.com. Connor Geary, thank you so much for stopping
Thanks,
in,
guys.
man. Great stuff. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back on Fox Sports Radio.